Yeah, so I'll take it from there. So absolutely. I mean, that experience was the best thing that ever could have happened to me in my life. I wouldn't have changed a thing. And people, they can't understand that. They think, oh my gosh, going to prison for something you didn't do for 5.5 years, that's a long time. But that time, it's very small in comparison to what I've been able to take from that experience, and that I could live the rest of my life with that understanding, right? With that perception, with all the changes that I was able to make. So what happened early on through just reflection every day and being honest with myself, I started to see all the patterns of thought, all the behaviors, all of the things that I had created to try and protect me that had actually caused me harm. And I started to question them. I started to question them and challenge my belief system. I started to really reflect on, is this who you are? Is this who you want to be? And the answer was no. And I was at first really distraught knowing that I had wasted 10 years of my life. I didn't play college sports. I didn't pursue my dreams. I didn't live as the person in my heart I felt like I was. I was being, a shadow of the man that I could have been. I was just allowing opportunities to pass me by. And I created this mentality that was really just based off avoiding, fear. And it was really a lot of self-doubt because I wasn't taking actions that I wanted to take. So then I would just use drugs and alcohol to numb those feelings. And here I was really leading a life that I didn't want. And I didn't know how to get out of that. And I was stuck. So prison gave me the opportunity to change. And what I started to do was just envision what do you want for yourself, Sean? What kind of life would you love to live? And what happened was I started to tap back into that kid that loved life, that kid that was so passionate. My true and authentic self started to emerge. And I was sober. I was clean off drugs and alcohol entirely for the first time in a decade. So I started to have these emotions come alive inside of me. And my mind was, working like it had never worked before. I had so much more clarity. So early on in jail, I really started to tap back into that person. And what happened was I knew that I had wasted my life. I knew that I had wasted 10 years of my life and that I was going to do another 5 in prison at least. And so instead of allowing that to just, you know, cause me to say, oh, I give up, my life's over, and to feel depressed and to feel sorrowful about those things, I made an internal commitment inside that jail cell that from this moment on, I'm going to live to the best of my ability as my true self in every moment forever. I'm never going to deviate from who I know I am ever again, because look what it got me. I'm never going to hold back from trying a new experience or pushing myself or challenging myself, because look what it got me, right? Because the regret that I experienced inside that cell, knowing that I wasted my life, it killed me. It was worse than being incarcerated. The regret was worse than being convicted of a crime I didn't do. It was worse than losing my freedom for 5 years, because I knew that I had these opportunities and I had wasted them and I could never get them back again. So that fueled me to change my life, and it gave me the focus every day to do everything to the best of my ability. Because even if I died in jail, I would have died with peace in my heart, gratitude and self-love, knowing that I had made that shift and that I had committed the rest of my life to being the person I knew I could be.
It's great to hear that you use this opportunity as a stepping stone towards a positive direction. You told yourself, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to end it. I want to get better and do the best that I can do for myself. And that's always great that a lot of people, even in during the struggles that they're going through, they always just need that kind of that mental change or that mental mindset to get them onto that right path. And I think your story and sharing that, it shows that people can do that with any situation that they're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was because of the severity of my event that I paid attention and really was able to see with transparency. A lot of times people don't realize that day in and day out, they're doing things that don't serve them. They're taking actions or not taking actions that don't align with the life that they really want. Right. And then we create these ways to like cope with that reality. So we keep ourselves in denial. We make excuses. We justify things. And then we complain about it. So we create these distorted ways of thinking to uphold these actions that don't serve us, right? So I think because of the severity of my event, I was able to see through the bullshit really quickly. And it was just that transparency and that honesty that went to the core. Like, no, you led yourself here through those inferior actions, through your desire to use drugs and alcohol, through your choices, right? Through everything that you partook in. Like, you created this scenario. It wasn't the DA, it wasn't the police, it wasn't the witnesses who falsely accused me. I took responsibility for being in that cell, not because I committed the crime, because I didn't do it, but because of the choices I made that led me down that path in life. And I felt like this was, you know, I guess you could say karma, or I had just created this scenario because of those poor choices. But that helped me for the first time in my life to just take ownership of a situation and not run from it. You know, I'd run from everything. I'd stay in denial. I'd numb myself with drugs and alcohol. Now I'm in a cell and I can't deny it. I can't run. Where am I going to go? I can't numb myself with drugs and alcohol. So I had to face it. But there's something so empowering when we do that. We take ourselves from that victim mentality to somebody who now has control over the situation. Even if it's a negative situation, if you're honest about it, right? And you take responsibility, you now are able to face it, analyze it, try to find some solution or remedy, versus when we're in this victim mentality, we try to suppress it. We ignore it. We keep ourselves in denial. And in that state, you can't do anything about it. So the outside situation, the external situation is happening to you, right? Well, in my situation, I was able to acknowledge it. I was able to take responsibility. And because I was honest, then I could look at it and say, okay, I can't change being confined. I can't change going to prison, but I do have control over my actions, my attitude. Every day, I do have much more control than I realized over how I changed and developed throughout this time. So that's where my mindset went. And that's what I immerse myself into every day is, what can I do to get 1% better? Because I was on a mission that I was going to go to prison and come home the greatest version of me that I've ever been. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to live the greatest life that I ever could have imagined. And that's really, before I even left the county jail and went to prison, where my mindset was at.